Welcome to Hollywood Hemptress Hour. We have a great show. Today we have Dr. Bernard Alvarez from the Global Illumination Council. He will be speaking on cannabis use and developing the light body and the Ascension in 2012. Stay tuned.
Imagine a town where there are no small joints, just small stoners, where Kush is a girl's best friend, and law-breaking is the new liberty. It's the Hollywood Hemptress Hour, hosted by your honey blunt Hemptress, Terry Joyce. Yeah.
Welcome back to Hollywood Hemptress Hour. In the video that you just saw, that was Dr. Bernard Alvarez from his Lightworker series that he has right now, and I'm very excited to welcome to the show Dr. Bernard Alvarez. He is the founder of GIC.org, which is the Global Illumination Council. And so, Dr. Welcome to the show. I'm really happy to see you.
I'm really happy to see you too, Terry. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this kind of technology now, where we can literally. I mean, you're in Virginia, right, or Roanoke area?
Roanoke, Virginia.
Yeah, and so I'm here, and here we are, face to face.
I love it. I love it. Literally face to face.
Right. Right. So the reason why I brought you on the show, first of all, I have I'm a part of the Global Illumination Council, and I'm very much into what is happening right now in 2012. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of change happening. Not only in America, but really around the world, which it's hard to deny that these kind of things aren't really happening. And there's also a feeling, a lot of people feel that we are moving into a new consciousness or a new way of being that is that's synchronized with some of the prophecies like the Mayan calendar and what this year particularly symbolizes. So that being said, could you let our viewers know or understand what this is all about, and what is the term that people talk about so much called the Ascension?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I want to tell you how happy we are that you are a member of the Global Illumination Council. You're one of my favorite people that I get to talk with on a regular basis, so I'm very proud to have people like yourself who are members, and active members at that. As well, when we're talking about, I call it the awakening, for lack of a better term. There's really no one particular term that anybody uses, but if we were to look at, let's say, look at what's happening in Egypt, look what's happening in the Occupy movement and around the world, and that is only the activist aspect of it. What I love about the Global Illumination Council is that we are seeing people that are having spontaneous awakenings, and they're just finding this place, and they're saying to us, "Oh my gosh, I've been feeling this, I've been thinking this, and I thought I was alone." Mm-hmm. And we're very lucky that we have a place like GIC where people realize that they're not alone, that they have the ability to contact and connect with people who are going through the same process. So to deny the fact that there is something happening, I attribute it to many factors. We talked a little bit about the Mayan prophecies. However, there are native cultures from around the world that are talking about this time and this place in 2012. And everyone from the Dogon to the Mamo to the Siberian shamans, to the shamans basically around the world that have been waiting for this time when humanity would awaken to their higher self, to an awakening to ascension, and that's leading me into what you said earlier. The ascension process for me, and again, this is only my definition, is that whole connection with your higher self. What is the higher self? It's probably, people are going to be going, what's he talking about, the higher self? Well, if you have ever, and being that we're on the show, I can say this, if you ever gotten so high that you got it all, you're like,
yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Yes. Yeah.
the higher self. And I don't mean that, quote unquote high, the higher self of consciousness. You've reduced the ego, you've gotten way out of the norm, you've gotten out of your day-to-day rat race life, and you've gotten to a place where your mind can just calm down and listen to your spirit. That is your higher self. And so many of us are going through that right now. And I have to say that, marijuana was one of the, or cannabis, I will start using that term now, cannabis was a very big factor for me when I went through that process as a young teenager. And I know many people that have had the awakening or the ascension process begin through the use of cannabis. So it's all tied in together. It's all tied in together, and it's going to be a better world, and cannabis has a part in that.
Well, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because a lot of times there is I'm finding, I look at different sites and things like this, and other people have different opinions on, drug use, specifically cannabis or some of the, mushrooms, ayahuasca. There's times where I hear that DMT and using these kind of plants that, of course, like people like Terrence McKenna and Graham Hancock and different people will, say it's part of our evolutionary awakening or enlightenment.
Yes.
And then you'll hear the opposite of it, that you can't reach ascension or what they say transcending into the higher dimensions, like the fifth dimensional frequency and things like this, if you are using these particular plants to check out, or that you might have an addiction and things like this. So there's a lot of negativity against it. And yet, at the same time, I will say in my own personal experience that cannabis was a trigger for me to start to have an awakening and to look at things and say, wait a second, what's happening? I'm seeing something different that I had not seen before, and I can't think that this plant or this thing that I'm smoking is taking me so off chart that it has to be leading me somewhere.
Absolutely. For me, what I feel that, well, I think it's very fair to say to observe the entire consciousness movement, the awakening movement, the lightworker movement, whatever you want to call it, is that many that have been around for a while. There are websites and there are speakers, there are authors that have been around, since the 80s, 90s, and whatnot, but they're in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. And they saw what happened with the hippie movement. Mm-hmm. They saw that drugs did create a problem in the hippie movement, that it became all about the drugs and not the issue at one point. And that's, again, this is my perception. Mm-hmm. So I can see where some people might be, oh, well, it's all about getting high. It's all about, no. For me, addiction is an addiction, and what I am seeing is that many of us who, like myself, I've had addictions in my 20s. I'm 45 now. In my 20s, I was addicted to certain substances, not marijuana or cannabis. I was more into the hard drugs and whatnot, but I overcame that, and found a balance. And I think that's what we're talking about now, is creating that balance, creating a balance of what works, what doesn't work for us. We're basically in a new field, a new paradigm, and I talk about that a lot. So we're trying to find our legs. What is this new paradigm? Is drugs going to be involved? Is cannabis going to be involved? How much of it will be a part of it? How much is government going to be a part of it? How much of it is going to be money-oriented? So we're all still trying to figure all this out. But for those who say that cannabis is wrong or it's bad, I find that many of them, if you look at their background, either were drug addicts themselves or they come from a very right-wing Christian-oriented base. Very closed-minded. I think it's a very closed-minded approach to what cannabis is. I think it's a very closed-minded approach to possibilities. In other words, we have people that and this is not to be negative toward any recovery, people in recovery or anything like that. However, there are a lot of people who are in AA and NA, and they're scared to death of even touching it again. Many shouldn't. Trust me, I'm sure there are people out there that should not be smoking or drinking.
Yeah.
However, there are probably many that can get away with it, that can find that balance. So to say that DMT or LSD or mushrooms or cannabis or anything like that, you're following a history that is only 100 years old. I mean, if that. I mean, as far as like problems in society. Whereas drugs, cannabis, psilocybin, all of these things have been used for thousands and thousands of years. I have a paper here, and actually I'll quote Wikipedia, and I know people are like iffy about that, but you can look it up yourself and research it. That cannabis has been used in spiritual Vedic Hindus, with Vedic Hindus, since 2000 BCE. So we're talking more than 4,000 years. So if we messed it up in the last 100 years, we need to ask ourselves what we're doing wrong about that. And as far as not allowing it to help you with ascension, I think it's very much a personal journey. I'll be honest with you. If I smoke marijuana during the day, it doesn't work for me. I can only smoke cannabis at night. For some reason, during the day, I get anxious and I get nervous, and it doesn't work for me. However, if I plan, let's say, well, actually, this will be about the time I'd smoke. If I plan a 7 p.m. meditation and I take a couple puffs, it will energize my meditation. It will clarify me. It'll bring me down from that crazy long day that I've had. So again, it's just a matter of, what works for you. And I respect it. I mean, if it doesn't work for some people, that's fine. But to make a blanket statement, put that fear, to me, that's fear.
Yeah.
And fear does not work for me in this realm of consciousness. If you're going to say to me, if I smoke marijuana, I won't ascend, that's like saying, well, I ate a hamburger, I can't ascend. Or I smoked a cigarette, I can't ascend.
Yeah.
Or I watched Will and Grace last week on UPN or whatever. I mean, some people are very controlling, and
it's very Christian-like, though, isn't it? I mean,
it's evangelizing.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to fall into, even if you're working away from it, because sometimes, like, I have that little voice saying the same thing. Well, you shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that. Well, look what you're doing over here. Like, are you at this bar drinking right now? I have a little inner dialogue like going on. But we need to take a really quick break. We're going to take a moment here, show a little video clip, and we will be right back. Stay tuned.
I have the freedom to think however I want. This is the United States of America, and I think that I'll let Terry do the thinking for me. Terry Joyce puts the probe back in prohibition. Terry Joyce knows more about conspiracy theories than anyone in the United States of America, and that's because she makes up most of them. Terry Joyce can host a show like no one's ever seen. But that's only because no one's ever seen her host a show before. That's why I'm asking you to watch the Hollywood Hemptress Hour with Terry Joyce. And you can trust me because I'm a warlock. Witch's honor.
with Dr. Bernard Alvarez with GIC.org, the Global Illumination Council, which is a spiritual community online that you can check out and get involved with. So thank you so much for sticking in here with us, Dr. Bernard Alvarez. And a question I have for you, now that I've mentioned the Global Illumination Council, can you give our viewers an example or just a description of what the organization is, what people can find when they come to the site, and and how they can get involved and be supported?
Very good. Thank you for asking that. The GIC is an intentional community. I love that word. It's an intentional community of people who are beginning to awaken, and we also have people that have been around for dozens and dozens of years, as far as have already awakened. It is about sharing your knowledge. It's about sharing your experiences. We are a spiritual activist community, so we're very involved with a lot of the activism that is going on around the world. But I will say the most important part, and the one thing that we all have in common at the GIC.org, is that we realize that we are responsible for the next generation. We are responsible for each other. We are responsible for humanity as a whole, being a part of the humanity community. So it's teachers, it's spiritualists, it's pagans, it's activists, political activists, human rights activists, gay activists, truth activists, conspiracy theories. Everything is involved, and basically it's just everyone who has found a certain truth that we need to share with other people. And for those that are wanting to share that truth and or are looking for that truth, it gives us the ability to support one another. We were very lucky. A good example is we were very lucky during the Egyptian revolution to have someone on the ground there as it was happening. We were very lucky to have people that have been speakers in metaphysics for years sharing their videos. We have yoga classes on there. So everything you can think of, from yoga classes to pagan classes to activism classes, it's all there, and it's all being shared by everyone who's a part of it. It's completely free. Yes, of course, we ask for a donation, but that's up to you. You can always click 0 when it tells you how much you want to donate. But it is community-based, it's community-run, and community-funded. We don't have any big sponsors or anything like that, and I think that's the most important thing, is that we don't get caught up in that whole paradigm of corporate sponsorships or anything like that. So we can do and say what we want. And it's one of those kind of places. Our goal is really to be an umbrella community for people that who have seen the truth. We have people that have been involved in the military, who have seen some crazy stuff. We have people that have been involved in government and big business and esoteric secret societies, all of that stuff. And it's to share what we've learned and what we can get out of it, and really just be an empowered human being, and to share your knowledge once you become empowered. So, by all means, come and join us at GIC.org. It's free to join, and we really appreciate any support anybody could give us, so thank you.
What I really like about your site, and what I like about what you do, is that you do live coverage of immediate events, and yeah, usually they're the ones that the mainstream media is not covering. For example, the protest and the revolution that's happening in Spain, you were doing a live stream broadcast of it that day, where when I looked on MSNBC or any of those type of channels, it was not even being mentioned.
Absolutely. We're friends with a lot of them. As a matter of fact, we had, for a while there, Courtney Kiss Me was on the ground, and Courtney Kiss Me was hanging out with Luke and Tim, Luke Rakowski and Tim Pool, and she would stream, we'd show her stream. We're always showing Tim Pool or Luke Rakowski streams for the things like that. We love to have, at that moment, coverage. I think it's very important. We also do radio shows. We have wonderful authors and speakers and teachers from around the world. Every Monday we do a radio show. We have a webcast twice a month. So we're always trying to keep everyone engaged in things that they can't find anywhere else, especially on mainstream media.
Absolutely. And I also really want to say, I love the fact that you did get involved with Occupy where you're at, and it was exciting because a lot of times you go to spiritual sites or you see people and they're, you know, I mean, but when you just go, okay, well, they have a show or maybe they're, I don't know, but when you really see somebody out there doing it, you know, that guy really is participating on all levels of change. Rupert Declo just had a question that he wants me to ask you. I'm going to put it in his. He says, ask about Ayn Rand's philosophy. Do you have any?
My only comment is I think that Anton LaVey read her books and created the Church of Satan out of it. She is the epitome of Satanism as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know what's interesting about Anton LaVey is that, you know, and also the Church of Scientology, Ron L. Hubbard. I used to live in Pasadena, and there's a whole story about the two of them who met in Pasadena.
Oh, yeah.
And both of them said, well, you know, how are we going to, we could make money if we both created religions. And so they did.
They were very involved. Anton LaVey and L. Ron Hubbard were involved with the guy, I forgot what he created, the nuclear missile or something like that. I forgot what the band's name was. But yeah, they were all good buddies hanging out together, getting high and doing witchcraft together. I have nothing against witchcraft. I practice paganism, but that's black magic.
Yeah. Yeah, which is an interesting, I feel, subject to bring up, because I've been having feelings that that's what's been happening with our government, that, you know, that's why our religions say, oh, this is evil, blah, 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 because there's a natural alchemy that actually exists in the universe that most of us are not privy to understanding, so it gives the other people an edge. Am I correct on that?
You're right on the key there, and actually you're right on the key on why I started the GIC. I've been involved in the occult and secret societies and that for more than half of my life, and I got so sick and tired of them saying, oh, you can't share that information. You can't share that information. They're not initiated. I'm like, you know what? Everyone deserves to know this knowledge. It's not good. It's not evil. It's how you use it that makes it good or evil. It's just like any technology. So I was so aggravated, and I will say it on your show, the Gardnerian witches drove me nuts because they would call me and attack me and say, why are you sharing this knowledge? It's a secret. No, it's general universal knowledge that everyone deserves to know. It's general human alchemy, energetic alchemy. It's work that we all need to be aware of. And now that we're in this time of transition, these are tools that people need to get through this craziness we're going through. To deny we're not going through a crazy period or era of humanity, you know, well, you must be watching too much TV to not see it, or mainstream TV, I should say. But we're going through a very difficult time, and we're going through a transition. And in order to go through that transition smoothly, grounded, and to really come out of it okay, all of these tools are very, very important. All these alchemical, magical, pagan, whatever you want to call it. People need to know these things. And as far as our government is concerned, they've been using it for thousands of years. They've been using it in America since the beginning. So now it's your turn to learn what they've been doing and empower yourself. And, you know, use the tools for good. It's just technology. It's nothing evil. It's nothing good or bad. Anyone in magic will tell you there is no good and evil. It's just a matter of how you apply it. So, yes, our government is using it, and you can see it everywhere. You can see it on the dollar bill. You can see it in the layout of Washington, D.C. You see it in the Vatican. You see it in London. It's everywhere. You cannot deny the occult. It's a part of the power elite. So now it's our turn.
You know, we only have like a couple more minutes, but I just really, and I want to have you back on again if you'll come back sometime. But one thing that I want to just have a description for people to understand, what is the light body and why is that so important to our ascension?
Very, very important key. The light body, to synopsize and make it quick because we only have a couple of minutes, the light body is what you feel when you're relaxed. A lot of people, hey, you know what? When you're tripping on acid, when you see those lights and those streams, that's real. You know, I hate to say, well, no, I don't hate to say, I am proud to say that when you are on a trip or something like that, and you're starting to see the lights and the trails, that means you've gone beyond the veil. You're seeing what we cannot see. That's the light body. All of the energy. It usually lives, you know, an inch or two out of your body. It's the vibration. It's your chi. It's your life force. That's what it is. And when you become aware of that life force, and you allow that life force to really flow easily in your body, you're gonna have better health, you're gonna have better clarity, and you're gonna have better life. Period, a better life. So by all means, figure it out. Learn how to connect with your light body, wake it up. All it takes is a few deep breaths. That's all it really does take. Start off with taking a few deep breaths, and if that doesn't work, take a couple puffs afterward, and then but take the few deep breaths and focus on it.
Yeah, when you say a couple puffs, like, oh, I'm finding my light body. Well, I want to thank you, and also you have a light body series
Yes.
that's online too that people can check out on the site as well as on YouTube. So,
I have a free series called Awakening the Light Body. It's like a 7-hour series. It's like 8 classes. Just, you know, you can do it one step at a time or watch the whole thing.
well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, and just happy holidays, and I'll be hanging with you for the. Are you going to do anything special for when 2012 on the very day?
Yes, you know I am.
I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm going to be there.
That's good. Good. Yes,
Right.
we are going to do a festival for 12/21/2012.
All
So
right.
check us out on GIC.org. Thank
All
you,
right.
Terry. It's always a pleasure. I love you.
I love you too.
Bye-bye. As many of you know, it is the year 2012, and we have been waiting very much, quite a bit now, for this wonderful cosmic experience to come upon us. And what makes 2012 so special is not necessarily what Hollywood has brought us to believe. It's not necessarily the end of the Mayan calendar. It is more of a cosmic timeline that is happening. It refers to a time in human history where the human body, the human mind, and spirit are all evolving. And we are going to and are going through a giant leap in spiritual and emotional and physical evolution. Is that a majority of who your essence is connected to the rest of the universe, and we don't get to see that. You don't get to see your connection to the planets, the stars, your higher self, your connection to the source from which you come from. What is the light body, and why are we choosing to awaken it now? It is, for lack of a better term, the chi of the universe. The light body is your Merkaba. It is your vehicle to transcend physical manifestation and move into higher realms of consciousness. But let's visualize the solar system or the Milky Way galaxy. Let's visualize all the planets and all the lights and all the stars, and everything is all swirling around, you know, the center of the galaxy. And each of those arms has a multitude of galaxies, a multitude of planets, and on those planets a multitude of living beings, whether they be human or not, whether they be transdimensional or not. And what the light body is our connection to all of that. This is the time that we are choosing to do this. Many of us have chosen to incarnate at this time for this very reason. Why are we doing it now? Because of the placement of what is happening with our galaxy, with our cosmos, where the universe is shifting.